Somebody thinks Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Who? Will tell you coming up next.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Dery with you. It's Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network on a Valentine's Day, Tuesday, February 14th, and a Wednesday, February 15th. Thanks for listening, watching, wherever you get your podcast, checking us out. Tell your friends, your Lion fan friends about Locked On Lions. We're here each and every day, Monday through Friday, and of course, during the season on our Sunday postcasts. And today, we are brought to you by Locked On Lions, sponsored by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the best. The official sportsbook of the NFL. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Follow us on Twitter at Dery Speaks, D-E-R-Y Speaks, at Locked On Lions. On Twitter, the Matt Dery Facebook fan page. And also watching us if you are on the Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Welcome. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing well. I'd be completely honest, and I think I would be wrong if I didn't mention that I'm certainly thinking about all the people that I know, some of my former students when I was teaching at U of D Jesuit High School, some family friends, and certainly some very close friends that are all a part of the Michigan State community. The last 24 hours has been a gut punch for me. I told you yesterday on the show, and I'm never going to lie to you on this show. I'm never not going to talk about issues that need to be talked about in the show. You're watching Locked On Lions to get away from this stuff, so I'm going to make this quick. I told you yesterday that I really like Chris Stapleton's rendition of the national anthem the other night at the Super Bowl. And I said that I'm not as patriotic as I used to be, and I'm not really into the anthem anymore and all that. Let me tell you something. I felt like I was disgusted and sick all last night and today. It's been a rough one. I hate this. I just hate it. I'm so tired of it. But let's talk football. Let's do this the proper way here and get into it. Coming up on the show today, Lions could be in a position, next year where the Eagles currently are. Crazy as that sounds, I'll explain coming up momentarily. Also, Jared Goff did make a top 10 of one of the bigger name pundits out there. We'll tell you about that coming up. Latest on Greg Olsen at Fox that I've been reading, I think is an atrocity. I want to talk about that. And a former Lion is back in the NFL. We'll talk about that coming up on the show as well. Now that it's draft season, we're getting into Valentine's Day. We're getting into it. We will do mock drafts. We're going to have a lot of good guests the next couple of months. We're going to really dive into free agency and the draft soon. So I'm excited about the future of this podcast and where we're going with Locked On Lions and really where the Lions are. It's exciting. And so this could be something very, very cool this offseason. And like we said yesterday, the Lions have the 9th best odds in Vegas to win the Super Bowl next year. People are juiced about this team, and so am I. So that is awesome. All right, let's start with this. Colin Cowherd, the Herd, on both Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports Radio, noon to 3 Eastern every day, did his Herd hierarchy, top 10 NFL quarterbacks today. And I mentioned yesterday that Dak Prescott got a lot of love over the weekend because he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And there were some people saying, Dak Prescott's probably the number. We know that. But there are some people that believe that Dak could be the second best QB in the NFC. I told you yesterday, I think it's still Matthew Stafford. So today on the Herd hierarchy, and our buddy Nathan Litke, who I call the executive producer, who's a P1 for this show and a good friend of mine, sent me this clip. I'm not going to play the audio, but I want to talk about Colin Cowherd's Herd hierarchy, where he has Jared Goff, our quarterback here in Detroit, made his top 10 of NFL quarterbacks. We've had this discussion pretty much all season, as Jared has had a really, really good year. Is Jared Goff a top 10 quarterback? Is Jared Goff, having a top 10 year? Is he a top 5 guy? Is he a top 15, 20? Whatever it is, Jared Goff performed this season. I'm not going to read you the stats. I'm not going to go over all the numbers. But Jared Goff this year led a winning football team. All right? The Detroit Lions won more games than they lost. They were 9-8 this year. And Jared Goff led them nearly to the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs, but it was close. Jared Goff beat Aaron Rodgers twice this year. Jared Goff in the second half of the year really took great care of the football and got into a great rhythm with the offense. And now coming up next year, Ben Johnson will be back. You got to figure everybody's going to be back in this offense, maybe even DJ Chark. You never know. You got to think Jamal Williams will be. But Jared Goff made Colin Cowherd's top 10 today. Colin's top 10. All right, this is always a good discussion. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, third, which surprised me. Justin Herbert, who Colin seems to have, he seems to like. Josh Allen at 5. Jalen Hurts at 6. Matthew Stafford at 7. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold on. Mahomes, Burrow, Lawrence, top 3. Herbert, Allen, Hurts, top 6. Stafford at 7. Aaron Rodgers at 8. Lamar Jackson at 9. And Jared Goff at number 10. So Colin Cowherd rates Jared Goff over guys like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson. All right, that's where he puts Jared Goff at number 10. And I think based upon this past season, and let's not forget, Jared Goff has a history of performing in this league. Last year, if you listen or watch this show, you knew, 2021, I'm saying, 2 years ago, Jared Goff, to me, proved very little. I thought he did not do much. Obviously, didn't have a lot of material around him. They only won 3 games, and I sort of viewed going into last year's draft like, all right, Brad Holmes should take a quarterback at some point. Probably not early, but later. And have somebody to develop, like Sam Howell or some 3rd, 4th round, something like that. And obviously last year's quarterback class wasn't very good. Guys slipped other than Kenny Pickett and moved way down in the draft like Malik Willis and others that people thought were lock first rounders. This time around, he's not a bridge quarterback anymore. The discussion about whether Jared Goff will be here or not is over. He's got 2 more years left on his contract. And all he did was win. All he did was be in the community very well with the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award nominee. He led the team. He was a good leader. He's a captain of the team. He delivered throws. Now, we're going to find out this year if he can win a division with this team, if he can win a playoff game with this team. Something Matthew Stafford, who's number 7 on this list, never could do in Detroit. So Jared Goff cracking the top 10, I think is pretty good. And it tells you something about what national folks like Colin and others think of Goff and the Lions offense. And it's only going to get better. Jamison Williams was barely on the field last year. I think they're going to find another tight end. The offensive line is really good. The run game, everybody's coming back. So it's exciting. Coming up next, a former Lion is back in the NFL. This is very exciting. But first, Locked On Lions is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/lockedon. When you're at your best, you can do great things. We all are going through something. There's always people that just struggle. If they don't have that therapist, they want to talk to that right person. Well, the person that you could find is right there for you on the screen if you're watching on YouTube at betterhelp.com/lockedon. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the better version of you. Why not? Take a look at what they have to offer at BetterHelp. The great thing about them is it's exclusively online. It's convenient, flexible, affordable. Everything's online. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. We thank our friends at BetterHelp. All right, big news. All right, big news today in the NFL. A former Lions head coach is back. Jim Caldwell got a job today. No, he's not the offensive coordinator somewhere. No, he's not even the quarterback's coach somewhere. No, Jim Caldwell, despite the fact that he's interviewed for head coaching jobs, did not get a head coaching job today. I'll explain about who did in a second. Jim Caldwell today was named a special offensive assistant and consultant for the Carolina Panthers. Caldwell is 68 years old and will be working alongside Frank Reich. Good for Jim Caldwell. Congratulations to the Reverend Jim for getting back at it. It is just incredible, though, how former Lions head coaches, once they're Lions head coaches, never, ever, ever become head coaches again. It's amazing to me. Jim Caldwell was not bad. Jim Caldwell took the Colts to a Super Bowl. All right, they lost to the Saints, but he coached a Super Bowl. Jim Caldwell took the Lions to the playoffs twice. Jim Caldwell got fired for going 9-7. We're doing cartwheels in this town over 9-8. Now, was Jim Caldwell a great coach? No. But you'd figure he would have gotten one more chance to be a head coach or an offensive coordinator. I saw this today, special assistant, offensive consultant with the Carolina Panthers. It's like, geez, good for him that he got a job. And he's going to be reunited with Frank Reich, who he knows well. And I think Caldwell lives down in North Carolina, I believe. So this would be sort of a homecoming for him, and he can be at home. Man, you just got to figure, you would have figured he would have been an OC somewhere or even given an opportunity as a head coach. And here's the thing. I don't want to play the race card. I don't want to talk about that. I think there are African-American candidates who get snubbed and screwed over. I think there is a bit of an old boys network at times in this league. No question about it. And I've brought it up on the show before. Jim Caldwell is a really good man and a good guy. And I think he interviews pretty well. So Eric Bieniemy, I think, is the opposite. All right. Eric Bieniemy should be a head coach based on credentials, but he never gets hired. And I don't think he's probably a great guy or great interview for that matter. So Jim Caldwell is back. All right. Also coming back, but not until 2024, is Tom Brady to work at Fox as the lead analyst alongside Kevin Burkhardt. I thought, we didn't mention this yesterday on the kind of Super Bowl recap, I thought Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen did a really good job, along with Tom Rinaldi and Aaron Andrews on the sidelines, those two, on the Super Bowl. I thought Fox's coverage was really good. I thought it was a little rough start. Obviously, Burkhardt, first Super Bowl he's ever called. Greg Olsen, only been an analyst a couple of years, moved up to the number one spot. But at the end of the game, Pacheco running left, and you hear Olsen say, slide, get down. You don't want to do the whole touchdown thing. They went over the replays of the holding penalty. I just thought Greg Olsen was really good. I thought he was effective. He didn't bother me like Tony Romo does. He wasn't annoying to listen to. I thought he did a really good job. And I'm reading from Andrew Marchand at the New York Post today that Greg Olsen will eventually be replaced and that Tom Brady is going to come in and basically take his gig in 2 years. And Olsen's salary will go from $10 million a year to $3 million a year as he's no longer going to be the number one analyst. What a shame. Like, I know Tom Brady's a big draw. I know Tom Brady, people love around here, especially Michigan fans. He may end up being really good, but he's never broadcasted in his life. He's never done a game in his life. And they're going to move him up to the number one team, slide this guy down, make him lose $7 million of his contract salary. I'm begging somebody at CBS, please call Fox, grab Greg Olsen in 2 years, get that set, and put him on the number one team with Jim Nantz and move Romo to the studio. Like, you do such a good job on the Super Bowl. Everybody lauds you for the job you do. And then 2 days later in the paper, and Andrew Marchand's a really good media writer, the New York Post. Remember when we used to have media writers here in this market? Not anymore. Nothing. Bubkiss. Marchand says Olsen's going to get booted down to the number two team to work with Joe Davis and go from 10 million to 3 million in salary. But you just knocked the Super Bowl coverage dead in the water. It was great. So I thought that was really, really, really weak. So I think he did a good job. And I don't know Greg Olson from Adam. I thought he did well, though. All right, coming up next, could the Lions be in a position where the Eagles are today, 1 year from now? Could the Lions be in that spot a year from now? But first, Locked On Lions is brought to you by Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories, you have to try a Built Bar. I had my salted caramel bar this morning. It was awesome. Great breakfast to have in the car on the way to the office. We just got through the holidays. My goal has been to lose some weight. My man Kevin Kohler from CAM, the Construction Association of Michigan. I saw Kev today. He said, "Matt, you look great. Have you lost weight?" I said, "Yes, I have. I've been eating Built Bars. It's fantastic." What makes them so good? They're covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate, and they taste great. Great flavors like cookies and cream, my favorite. I mentioned salted caramel, coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, churro. And now, not only can you get them at Built.com, but you can get them at Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter and churro. You can thank me later. Built Bars are great. They're good for you. Only like 140, 150 calories. Check them out at Built.com or at Walmart or Sam's Club. All right. Other news today around the NFL. Could the Lions next year be in the same position that the Philadelphia Eagles are this year? And I'm not talking about playing in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about assistant coaches. Today, the Eagles' offensive coordinator, Sugar Shane Steichen, became the next head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He'll be working for Mr. Irsay, man, and Chris Ballard. Shane Steichen off to Indy. Later this afternoon, Jonathan Gannon, the pride of Cleveland, Ohio, Eagles defensive coordinator, became the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. It got me to thinking. Next year at this time, could the Lions lose Ben Johnson to be a head coach somewhere else and Aaron Glenn to be a head coach somewhere else? Think about that. What would that mean for the Lions? That would mean more success. Both of those guys interviewed for head coaching jobs this offseason. They're ready to probably be head coaches. I think Ben Johnson probably a little bit more than Aaron Glenn. I think Ben's offense proved this year being a top 5 offense. He should get his flowers. Aaron Glenn did a really good job in the second half of the year. The defense got better. The numbers don't really prove it. The Lions defense still sucked statistically, but players rave about AG. Ben Johnson's going to be head coach. But what would that mean in a year from now if the Lions were to lose both coordinators like the Eagles just did? Keep an eye on that. That could happen. Could absolutely happen. What if the Lions grab 2 studs in the first round on defense? Let's say they got Will Anderson somehow at 6 and a corner at 18 or something like that. And continue to build that defense. Guys continue to play better and improve. Tracy Walker comes back healthy. Plays alongside Kirby Joseph. The corners, Okuda has a big year knowing that maybe, and we don't know this yet, his 5th-year option. We'll see what his future is, but he's playing for a contract this year. The young studs along the defensive line are only going to improve. Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Aleem McNeil, linebackers, young guys, Derek Barnes, maybe, Matt Rodrigo. They're building something here. And it just may happen 1 year from now. Now, it might be earlier because I don't think the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. I think the teams will announce it earlier, but the Lions could be the Eagles and their DC. But getting lucky this year that the staff is basically intact. I think it's a little bit of luck. By the way, running backs coach Scotty Montgomery, who just got hired last week, already is interviewing for the Tampa Bay Bucs offensive coordinator job. Nobody should be mad at anybody for wanting to do better. He's a running backs coach. He's interviewing for the OC job. I know he just took the Detroit running backs coach's job, but that's a better gig in Tampa. Keep an eye on that as well. All right, that is a Locked On Lions for a Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Please be safe, everybody. Thank you for listening, making us your first listen. each and every day. Check out, by the way, Locked On NFL Draft. Got a couple of new hosts on that show, and I'm going to preview some of that later this week as well, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Love you all.